Welcome to Raising the Bar, a podcast giving no bullshit marketing advice for Aussie business owners. Expertise takes experience, and that's why we tell stories from lived experience to deliver marketing that raises the standard of what Aussie business owners should expect.
Hey Strutty.
Hey Meavy.
We're back with another episode of Raising the Bar, and there's a lot of talk about ChatGPT now having ads in Australia.
Yep.
Is this true?
It is true. ChatGPT has launched a pilot, so good to know that it's a pilot, and it was on May 5th, and we're one of the trial countries. So the US, Canada, New Zealand, and us, I think, is everyone. That's probably a bit irrelevant. And yeah, we've had it now for a couple of months. So interesting times. I think a couple of important things that we'll touch on in more detail, just to know. I think one of the really interesting things is that around March, it was probably Feb and March in Australia, you could actually advertise with ChatGPT. So we jumped on, we're like, this is amazing. No, $200,000 minimum budget, had to be a major advertiser. So obviously not really within our client's perspective, but that changed very quickly. So March, April, and suddenly you could jump on. And so, yeah, our clients could be advertising today on very small budgets. So that happened quickly. So why did they change that so quickly? And another one is that it's not available in all versions of ChatGPT. So it's actually only on the free and what I call the Cheap Ass Tuesday edition, which is about $8 a month. But important to note on the Pro edition, so the $20 a month or more, so more what the businesses would use. We'll touch on that a little later in the podcast, but not available, advertising is not available on those versions yet. So yeah, the trial is here. And yes, as a small business owner, you can be advertising on an AI platform that is ChatGPT.
Yep. And I've had a few people ask me about it, a few clients that I've been talking to, and there's almost a bit of fear around needing to move fast and kind of be one of the first on it because, you know, then you get a head start. Any truth to that?
No, just because it's live doesn't mean you should be throwing money at it. I'll probably cover off some criteria on that, but certainly don't be a first mover. I, on the other hand, am a first mover. We, as you know, I take great pleasure in trialling everything that comes out to the dislike of our financial controller. So yeah, we jumped on, I think on the 6th of May, our ads went live, and I have some stats for you just so people can sort of see what it's really like, and we can have some live conversational data. So to date, this is 1 month actually, so this is the month of May, we spent $701. We had 36 clicks and 10,000, nearly 11,000 impressions, but 0 conversions. And because I love to do it, clicks is a click through to the website, landed on the website, and impression is that the ad showed in that many chats, conversations. Yep. And conversions would be someone filled in a form page or phoned us and we actually got a lead, at least a start of a lead from it. None of them. So is that a big deal? And what data can we glean from that? No, it's in a learning phase. We are in a pilot. I think it was expensive, kind of comes down to about $20 a click. So of all the mediums we use, so Google Ads and LinkedIn advertising probably being our other, I think we're about an average of $8 cost per click for Google, and about $16 I think it is for LinkedIn.
13.
At the moment. 13. Oh, you know my data better than me. So, you know, most expensive of them.
Why do you think it is the most expensive?
Well, I don't think it really knows quite how to work yet. In terms of how it's in there. So you're basically adding a budget. There's not really exclusion terms. Like one of the big things we look at in terms of how ads work on something like Google is that you really can, I guess, remove the things you don't want to show for, if that makes sense. So you can say, no, I want to be an exact match term for marketing agency Perth, but I just don't want what is a marketing agency. I don't want a broad match term. This is conversational advertising. So you're actually just sort of stating the conversations that you would appear in. And I think for that reason, you know, it clicks up pretty quickly. But in saying that, and to defend ChatGPT a little bit, I don't necessarily think, and I think this is the broader conversation, that people using AI are necessarily, I think they're in research mode. And I think they'll still, we've talked about it before, they'll still probably go and make their purchases or make the conversion in a Google environment. So in defense of them, It might be higher up the channel in terms of awareness, in interest, and in consideration and sale phases. I think people are still moving to Google. So let's not shit can it, but ultimately I wanted to use our own data. What I wanted to also put there is like ChatGPT. I think one reference point when people get super overexcited about, AI is going to kill us in search, I think there's real merit to that. But at the same time, 87% of all website visits are still driven from Google globally, but all driven from less than 1% are from AI. So in the context of people landing on business websites, Google's still the absolute winner there. However, are they doing their research in AI and then coming back from Google to actually go to a website? So I do all my research, but I don't click through to a website from AI. Then I go to Google to go to the website. Highly probable. So we still want to be part of the conversation early. But tonight is about ads specifically. So it's about saying, I think the stat too is that 45 million clicks or 45 million uses of ChatGPT in a week across Australia. So there's a lot of people using it. But I would beg the question, I think, for me, is that the conversion question is going to matter. So what are people using it for? Quick questions to answer around the house, putting their shopping list together. And that's always been the same, but we've got to bring that back. So to advertise on it now, yeah, probably not the time to do it if you're really wanting conversions and to start selling stuff, but good if you want to be part of the conversations.
Yeah. I think it's 10.5 million Australians. Was it 45? Where did you get the 45 from?
That's 40%.
45%
of everyone.
So do you want to go from that stat?
Yeah, I don't even know where I came from. Anyway.
So you're just saying about, so if you go from just how many people are using it?
So an important point to make is that about 87% of all website traffic visits are from Google, not from AI. In fact, AI accounts for less than 1% of website visits globally. However, that doesn't mean to say that people aren't going to the AI platform, getting the conversational chat, finding the 3 brands or companies they want to work with, and then moving them into a Google search environment. So really remembering the different phases of the consumer decision-making framework and how we go through alternate options. The next thing then is how many Australians are actually using it. It's about 10 million-ish are using ChatGPT every week, which is pretty significant, but what kind of stuff are they using it for? Shopping lists, workout routines, free version and a cheap as chips version, not really your business owners. And I think we can probably talk about that a little bit more as well.
Yeah. So no luck for sales for 3x2 through ChatGPT ads?
Not saying it won't happen, but right now wouldn't be something I'd fully endorse for our clients, but glad we're trialling it and glad that we can put some stats together on what it looks like, because there's a lot of hype around it and I just don't want people to think they're missing out on something.
Yeah, and we still have had some good results in the non-paid space in ChatGPT as well, because I think there is that piece of when they've done so much research in AI, they're further down their customer journey. You mentioned
was that in question 2?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, start that question again. Sorry.
Yeah. So no luck for 3x2, no sales. Actually, I can answer that because I'm in sales. No sales based off ads, but we have had some good results in the other side of ChatGPT.
Organic AI, yeah, absolutely. I think both of them we were found in Claude searches that converted most recently, but we've had 7 leads through AI probably since the start of the year, and I think we've closed every one of them.
Good leads.
Yeah, so that actually is a really good point. And I think, I would have always once said, I always say a referral is the best lead, and you're like 90% chance of winning it unless you really muff it up. So if you're referred, it feels a little bit like, to me, when you and me are in those AI meetings, you've done the last 2 by yourself and closed them, so I can't say them, but they are AI. We've naturally appeared in as a mention in people's searches for a marketing agency in Perth, B2B, probably specialist agency in Perth, and they've just felt like they're referral leads. Like we're much higher intent than when we get Google leads and we're 1 of 5 and we're just getting quotes and you don't get a massive brief.
Yeah,
they felt better, right? So I think that is a point. Again, a little bit separate from advertising, but when you are mentioned and you actually come out, it is a higher intent lead, and that's why we don't want to turn our backs on AI. I think ultimately after that they're going to our websites, right? Yeah. And they're looking for us. So let's not discount that.
Yeah. So you've mentioned the different kind of versions of ChatGPT and who sees these. So can we dive a little bit more into that? So if you're running these ads, talk through who sees them and why it's important to understand that.
Yeah, listen, I think like all things, we want to bring this back to where your target audience lives. So in ChatGPT specifically, cheapest chips, $8 a month, and in the free version, right? I would counter that anyone worth their salt using ChatGPT in their business, if that's the tool you've chosen to use, you'd be on at least the $20 version, if not for just some organisational controls, the ability to do some shared custom GPTs, that kind of thing, right? And in reality, I don't know many people who wouldn't be using Copilot already installed in their Microsoft 365 suite, right? So it's already there. If you're a Google user, you've got Gemini with most of your Google apps. And then anyone in the consulting world really now is Claude. Claude is making up a serious number of business users. In fact, I don't really work with anyone in kind of the business owner, founder, I guess, networks that I'm in that's not using Claude, because it's just significantly better at the knowledge work, right? So the answer to you is, before you go out and spend money and go ChatGPT, well, it's two versions. It's, this is 14-year-olds plus data for that 10 million Australians, right? This is quick GPTs. This is not a B2B buyer actively searching in a free or a cheapest chips version. And that's what I would put you. So just like you need to choose your channels, AI is one channel to make yourself appear in or to be active in. Then we've got multiple versions of that channel, no different to Bing and Google advertising back in the day. Well, why didn't we recommend Bing? Well, because Google owned like 90% market share of all searches. So Bing, if we were targeting old people who probably just bought a computer and Bing was automatically installed on their Edge when you opened it up, or back in the day, Microsoft Internet Explorer, then maybe. But we wouldn't use it. So I want people to think of it the same way. Are my target audience in the free version? Cheap version? Probably not. Which AI tool are they in? And focus your attention on that. And then, can I actually advertise in that version? Because not all AI tools are the same. Not all large learning models are going to allow advertising. So that's another thing that'll have to be tackled.
So kind of back to strategy before you start executing.
Oh,
what a
surprise.
surprise.
God, broken record.
So what are the other platforms? And we've obviously spoken a lot about ChatGPT. What are the other ones doing in terms of ads?
Yeah, so not launched in Australia, but Gemini, in the actual Gemini app, you can't get ads, but they are doing it in their kind of Google AI overview, so that native one that appears in a browser, not in Australia yet, and Copilot actually in the US as well. Looks like they've put some ads in, so that'll be interesting. So I think of them more like you naturally go to Bing, and then there's an AI, there's Copilot in it, you naturally go to Google, and now there's Gemini naturally in it, so there's ads sort of being, I guess they're in learning mode, like all pilot modes, not in our jurisdiction yet, so that's interesting to note. And then obviously, I mean, you've got Grok, but I can't even talk about that. Elon Musk, so stuff that. And then Perplexity and Claude have...
Better name. There could have been a better name than Grok.
Well, I call him the cock, because I hate Elon Musk, but that's okay. I actually sadly just bought a Tesla for Tony, so I'm going to have to like him a bit more and just stop my car in the middle of a freeway. And then on that, Perplexity and Claude, obviously I've talked about that before, but integrity... we're not going to be manipulating data. You will pay a subscription, but we will never serve you ads. So that's the model that they've taken, right? But ultimately, I mean, if you look at something like ChatGPT, he's forecast, I think it's 100 billion in ads revenue. You might want to check me on that. But, and I think, and in reality, he's got to get there very quickly. So ads are coming. Like the AI bubble bursts if large learning models can't start making money soon, so expect advertising to be coming quickly, and we're just trying to stay on top of it as much as we can.
Is that why they started with the 200K?
Yeah, I think they had big
they were
dreams.
like,
quick.
Make money.
Interesting to note though, and I think we'll talk a little bit about ads and how they appear within GPT, but interesting to note though, I think they are very obviously ads, like they're very obviously sponsored content. And as an old girl who was around when Google Ads first launched in search in Australia, it was quite deceptive. You couldn't see that it was an ad, it almost appeared. And basically just like, influencers have been encouraged to not just endorse products, they have to say, I am endorsing this product, this is sponsored content. Google had to, over the decades, actually make it look really obvious. You have to get that, okay, there's 3 sponsored ads. But from what I see of the ChatGPT ads, it very obviously is an advert. So it's very obvious that it's sitting there. And I think that's actually going to be a bit of a put off and maybe reflects the click rates, that we got from our trial. So you can see it's an ad. Would you click on it? I'm just going to keep it. It's in the chat, but it's obviously sponsored content.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I can ask on that one.
Obviously sponsored content. You could probably say, so you're less inclined to click on it because you know it's advertising, just something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're less inclined to click on it because you know it's advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't tricked you. Good marketing tends to trick sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's what Google got away with very early days for a long time. So really high click-through rates because they made their money on the click, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this is more like, they make their money more on the impression share, like the advert actually appearing in the conversation view of the user.
Good point. You can't get tricked into it. So what are the key things? What does it actually? I actually haven't seen one. What does it look like? Come on, the fancy versions.
It's in conversation view. So you're chatting away. You got your conversation loading up, and there will be a little tinted box that pops up, and it clearly says sponsored content.
Yep.
I think the thing that I would put to people to really understand that key difference is, now we have to give merit that Google Ads are a far further advanced tool. And when they first came out, they were bloody awful as well. And you're just throwing money away because there wasn't exclusion terms and those elements. But this is conversational. So you're not picking a key term. Like I want to bid on this keyword and I'm willing to spend this amount of money. It's more like it's conversation. I want to peer in conversations about these things and this is my website and this is what I do, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so we don't have any control. So if you said to me, I want to set up an advert for physiotherapists in Applecross, I can make direct keyword searches for physiotherapist Applecross. So what we'd call is key term location. This is just a WA. I think the only location we can say we want to show for conversations about this type of marketing agency in WA. That's the only control we have, right? So that's not going to help me if someone's searching in Albany and they want to use a local provider, right? So it can pop up. So we don't have those great parameters in this tool yet to really confine that down. And so what I love to do the most in Google Ads is that you can really get the key term, the specific key term, and I'm in an exact match key term rather than broad match key term, and match your ad copy to that. Are you looking for the best physiotherapist in Applecross? Try blah, blah. Well, we know who that is. Enhanced Physiotherapy. Enhanced blah, blah. Like Perth's most beautiful gym and physio clinic, whatever. So you can match it to do that and make it super relevant, make the ad copy and the meta title of that ad copy really relevant to the search term. We don't have a lot of that control yet, again, but there's a lot missing from it. And again, it's really obviously sponsored, which isn't what Google Ads did in the very beginning.
Yeah, so hard tag, but there's also a lot of areas excluded from doing ads.
Oh God, I'd actually have to read them too, but basically think healthcare, allied health professionals. There's a big list of them, but much broader than what Google had restricted previously. And again, subject to change, but because it's a recommendations tool, because it's giving you advice, I think they're being much stricter on how they put forward an advert and just saying, no, you just can't advertise yet. We just don't know. They haven't set up the guardrails to know if they can get away with recommending you yet and if they could be sued for it, right? So real restrictions around who can advertise. Let's say the industries that are allowed to advertise is very restricted. Yeah.
What about reporting? I know you've reported on our results, but...
That's about it. It's actually quite shit. So listen, you can't expect. So the big difference here is that when you tick the privacy policy of an AI tool, they can't release the conversation data. So you can't actually see a conversation that someone's had. And so from that point, we used to go on key terms. We'd go, oh, what advert was clicked on and what was the keyword with it, but they're not going to release conversational views. So all you're really knowing is when your ad appeared in a conversation. We don't get any greater context than that at this point. I wouldn't be, if someone wanted raw conversions now and really looking at every dollar that they needed us to spend on them, I'd be too nervous to use ChatGPT ads at the moment. Happy to waste my own money, but not going to waste someone else's.
So I guess it's back to that. If you do it, you're spending money there, asking the person when you get on the phone, the lead, where that actually came from, understanding.
Yeah. You'll know you got to click, but depending on the volume of leads you got in the day, you know, you're not going to know exactly what it was they searched and the advert they landed on to the detail that we have historically known from paying for ads. So, yeah, it's like organic AI. It's a bit vague.
Yeah. So if someone's got a bit of money to spend on marketing right now, is it worth the spend? Yes or no? We're putting it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that comes down to your objectives. If you're looking for lead generation right now, probably not. One of the things I've always been interested in is though it's not said anywhere, I do believe there's a correlation between if you're running Google ads and your organic ranking. Never be said in Google, right?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Like, I just think there's a relationship between it. So for me, I wonder if you invest in a platform with advertising, and let's be honest, like things like things like Google, they are an advertising company. They're just the world's biggest advertising company, right? They've got to have to money. If people are moving away from the console, which generates all of their money, they've got to make it in adverts, right? So I think all of these things will improve. But right now, if my objective was to get leads in the door, I'd spend more of my money in Google ads, firstly. If that's something that works for your business traditionally, I wouldn't be diverting it. And I'd spend my time and energy on organically ranking, because right now, as I've said in multiple podcasts previous, right now's the time to harness appearing in GEO. So a generative engine optimization. So work on being better at that. And we have had 7 phenomenal leads in 6 months.
Leads.
Yeah.
Like coming with so much more trust.
Bang on. Now, I would love to tell you exactly how we've done that. I don't know. We're just doing a lot of things. We're kind of throwing some mud at walls, and we know lots of it's sticking because we're getting those, and we're seeing that for our clients as well. But that's where I'd be investing my money, is the generative engine optimization at the moment versus spending the money. Let a fool like me spend the money and give you the data. That's my job.
Yeah, but it is going to get bigger.
It has to get bigger.
And people, what should business owners do now? Like you just spoke on GEO. You know, if you have, maybe talk a bit deeper on that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that, so Sam Altman's the CEO of ChatGPT, and that's that $100 billion figure. So I think it's $100 billion in ads revenue in 2030 to be generated from ChatGPT. It's an extraordinary number, right? Wow. So it has to work. And if the feedback is it's not specific enough, the reporting's not good enough, there are much smarter people than I in this little, beautiful town called Perth that will figure those things out, and our team here. But what I would say, so I think it's going to improve, and I think it's going to improve fast. And these are all pilots, and they're all to go, hey, how are people using this, and what are they unhappy with, and what are they not unhappy with? And I'm sure they're going to have a partner program or an agency program, just like Google did back in the day, right? So all of those things are to come. But keep your eye on it, obviously keep listening to our podcast so you know when things are coming out. Knowing where your audience is, I'll say, is really important. So if you've got a real white-collar knowledge worker audience, that's who buys from you, then Claude isn't going to advertise. So you've got to be focusing your attention right now on GEO. You've got to show up. You've got to show up in organic search.
What's a good example for a business that could test it out if they were going to?
Right now, beauty treatments. I think if I was selling like Superfit car seat covers, what are the best four-wheel drive car seat covers that I can get, or seat covers I can get for trucks, that kind of stuff. Because if there's kind of 2 or 3 really good ones in market, you want to be like, why are these better? And anyone where reviews kind of matter and input matter. So real consumer-based good where you want to be part of that top 3. I think anything where you do a fair bit of research first. I think, I look at things like car brands and electric scooter brands and camera brands where people do their research and say, I'm not going to siphon through all of these different review websites. This is the criteria I'm looking for. Come and give me the best lot. Look at I would say advertising there works. Yeah. I think there's a credibility piece when an ad pops up in AI now, and I think that's something that, I think they're very smart, people that created AI, like it's amazing. But I think Perplexity and Claude's model makes more sense to me because it just doesn't feel right seeing an ad pop up. Mind you, there is a lot of stupid people in the world who still don't realise they've clicked on Google Ads, even though that says sponsored now. And maybe they're just relying on the few. But I suspect that that's why it's in the free version and the cheap ass chips version. So it's here to stay. I think in reality, and I mean, I'm a little bit off track here, but this AI bubble, we know it's going to burst. And it's going to burst because these numbers are unrealistic. And then it will pick up steam and go again, right? Just as it did in the dot-com boom for different reasons. And when it goes again, people will get it right because AI is here to stay. How they monetize AI, I think that's the question. Advertising will be has to be part of Google's push forward, and it has to be part of some other LLMs push forward as well. So just stay connected. And I think the one piece actually that I would say is I don't think a small business in Perth has to be the early adopter.
Yeah.
I think we're okay to be laggards a little bit at this. Like, let people spend all their money, let the bubbles burst, and then be there. Because at the end of the day, whether you started Google Ads really early or really late, it didn't matter. You just bid more, maybe, but eventually it kind of evened out. What does matter is actually making sure the GEO is there early, because you can't buy back the time of optimizing early and being in the engine's memory early. No one has quite figured out how to manipulate it at all yet, but there is something going on where if you're in there earlier and you're feeding it conversational content, high quality, authentic conversational content, it definitely seems to be rewarding you. That's still my focus.
Yeah. Okay, bring it home for me, Mel. What are the 3 takeaways for a business owner on this topic?
Don't panic yet. We haven't seen a lot of panic, but don't panic yet. We're in trial phase. They openly said it's a pilot. And so far, for everyone that we deal with, 100 managed service clients and the people I speak to, further than that, I don't think the reporting is worth the investment in dollars going away. Just let idiots do that for you. Just start knowing where your customer's actually at. So you mentioned it, but people are getting AI referrals, so organically, but making sure you know where your customers come from, but know what platform they use. So there is nothing wrong with when you're on a phone to someone, having a conversation, or you're making a sale and it's just a transaction, or you're emailing someone, go, hey, just as a random question, we're kind of looking at if our clients are adapting AI at the moment yet and what platforms you use. Are you guys into it? No, I hate that shit, never going to use it. Good. There you go. Versus, yeah, I am, but I use Claude. I think it's much better. So start to gather that data now, because 6 months a year when advertising becomes a bigger thing, you'll start to have some data on going, no, I reckon about 75% of our customers actually are on Gemini. That's what they're using, or they are on ChatGPT, or no, they're all on Copilot because their company pays for it. That's good stuff to ask now to get to know your audience. Listen, get recommended. Get into the generative engine optimization. So go back to your basics, your Google reviews, go back to making sure you've got other referral sites, and really start preparing your content for those conversational answers, Q&As, those kind of things we've spoken about. It's a great episode on that previous podcast. You can go and check them out. But yeah, you don't have to bother with the hype. Absolute top hint is that you don't need to buy your way into AI yet. Get there organically. It's going to be much better for your business long term. Wait for the tools and the reporting to catch up to where it needs to be for you to invest actual cold hard cash.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Let's get to work.